Welcome back in one of the Bears Travel Plays YouTube channel. Today is Friday, November 1st, and I'm back breaking down some college football for the weekday slates. I went ahead and looked ahead for next week in college football. I saw we have MAC action on the weekdays next week in college football. I'm very excited to break down those games. But for tonight, we got a match between San Diego State going up against a very good Boise State team. I'll have my best game pick and the two best player props of this game. Before we get into that, let's take a look at the recap for Thursday. I did say Charlotte plus 17 had some major line movements this morning on Thursday. So I went ahead, Charlotte plus 14.5. I actually got them plus 15.5, but by the time the video came out, by the time a lot of people watched it, probably it was 14.5. So I'll just take one for the people, play at 14.5 here. I still think they can cover that spread against Tulane. We have Micaiah Hughes over 129.5 rushing yards against Charlotte, and then Omega Blake over 41.5 receiving yards going up against Tulane. I think that one went to 42 or 43, but I did grab it 41.5. Hopefully he just has a big play. We don't have to worry about any of the extra yardage added to his player prop. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. We had a 2-1 day the other day with Jacksonville State going up against Liberty. Liberty, of course, losing the game, but Trey Stewart, God, I think he had 300 rushing yards, and then Salter for Liberty, the quarterback, he got his rushing yards as well. So 2-1 day the other day. Hopefully, Charlotte comes through for us tonight, and we hit the player props as well. But let's take a look at the play for Friday night. We have Boise State going up against San Diego State. Mountain West Conference battle here. San Diego State this season has been a pretty big disappointment, but they're undefeated in conference play. For Boise State, they're also undefeated in conference play, only having one loss on the year. That was against the number one team in the country, Oregon. Boise State also coming off of a must-win game against UNLV. They did find a way to get the job done, winning that game by 5 points in a close battle. San Diego State's coming off a home loss going up against Washington State, losing that game by 3, but they covered the spread. They were a 17-point underdog, so they were very frisky in that matchup. For my play in this one, we're going to go with Boise State, minus 23.5, and the reason's pretty simple. It's because they can't afford to drop any games. They have to take every game from here on out like it's a playoff game. This is the favorite in the group of 5 teams right now to make a playoff spot, and if they win out this season, there is no way that they're left on the playoff ballot. They can easily put their foot down on this game going up against San Diego State because San Diego State all season long has been brutally bad offensively, and the only reason that they've been able to stay in a couple of these games has been the fight of their defense in the first half. San Diego State is one of the worst teams in the country on the offensive side. They only scored 22 points per game, and most of the points they score per game comes in the first half. The defense has been decent this season. They've been giving up in the second half for a lot of these games, but they're giving up 23.6 points per game. Boise State, that 23.6 for them might be 46 for them because they're going to double that point total. Boise State's coming in as the best team in the nation offensively, scoring 44.3 points per game. I guess I should say one of the best teams because they're currently ranked second in the country. As everybody knows, they have the Heisman favorite right now, Ashton Jeanty, who's going to be putting up ungodly numbers again in this game, video game-like numbers. He does it every single game. They've also had very consistent quarterback play, and this is a very balanced attack for Boise State. If they can't get it on the ground, they can get it through the air. Most of the season for Boise State, they've been able to just give the ball to the lead back every single play. But that wasn't the case last week against UNLV. They had to open up the playbook a little bit, and everything worked out for them. The defense hasn't been great this season, giving up 25.9 points per game, but they've been good enough with one of the most explosive teams in the country, putting up a ton of points. I'm going to take Boise State here, minus 23.5. They're going to put their foot down on San Diego State. Let's go over to the player props for tomorrow. And for the first player prop, we're going to talk about Ashton Jeanty of Boise State, over 188.5 rushing yards against San Diego State. His numbers are actually coming down a little bit over the last couple of weeks. He got bottled up just a little bit last week against UNLV. He also was limited against Hawaii, having under 200 yards in that game as well. And I say bottled up like he had 128 yards in the game against UNLV. So he still had a very good game in terms of everybody else in the league. But this is Ashton Jeanty. He's putting up 200-plus yards per game basically every single day. I do think he's going to get right back on the wagon on this one against San Diego State because they're giving up 175.7 yards per game. That's going to be a massive problem. UNLV last week, they had one of the better rushing defenses in the nation. They gave up 128 yards still, but San Diego State, their bottom half in rushing defense this season. We've already seen Jeanty have 200-plus yard games in half of his battles this year. I don't expect San Diego State to be able to stop Boise State, and I do expect Boise State to be up by several touchdowns in this game. So they're just going to be running the ball every single play. This is a big-time player, likes to make big-time plays. We should see him break off a couple 60-plus yard rushing touchdowns in this one. Give me the over 188.5 rushing yards as the play. And for the next play and the final play of the day, we're going to look at the same game. San Diego State going up against Boise State. I'm going to take the running back for San Diego State, Marquez Cooper, to go over 81.5 rushing yards against Boise State. San Diego State has had a lot of problems with their quarterback play this year, and O'Neal, He's just simply not getting it done for them. He only has 1,200 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And whenever we take a look at the backfield for San Diego State, they only have a couple plays in the playbook because Cooper, he has 169 touches this season. The next highest running back is sitting at 13 touches on the year. This is what you call a one-man show for San Diego State. You do have a couple pretty good wide receivers, but with the limits at the quarterback spot, they're just not able to have big games that often. And San Diego State, day in and day out, they hand the ball to number 15, and they just let him do his thing. Marquez Cooper last season, he played for Ball State. He bounced around the MAC conference, which is why I know he's probably a really good player. He's probably got a lot of grit playing for Kent State and Ball State. And if he continues on this path that he started this season, he's easily going to go for over 1,000 yards rushing. And that would make 4 consecutive years having 1,000+ rushing yards and 200+ touches. He only needs 222 more yards for 1,000 yards on the year. Over just the last 5 games, he's had 18+ carries in all 5 games, having over 85 rushing yards in 4 of the 5 games. And the one game he didn't do it was against Washington State. In the last one, he had 78 yards. He's also been able to find the end zone in 4 consecutive games for San Diego State. So if you're looking for some player props on this one, anytime touchdown, I think he's a very good option. He has so much production. He has so much volume on the touches. This is way too low of a number not to take him. Give me the over 81.5 rushing yards going up against Boise State as the play there. Let's move over to the recap graphic. We're going to be taking Boise State minus 23.5 against SDSU. Ashton Jeanty over 188.5 rushing yards against SDSU. And then Marquez Cooper over 81.5 rushing yards going up against Boise State. Guys, it's going to do it. The NCAA football plays and props for Friday, November 1st slate of games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe down below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.